Hello and welcome to This Week in the Garden. For this week's episode, we're going to talk about fall gardening. It's kind of the end to our spring summer garden and then a transition into a fall garden. We're not going to follow this series through the fall garden, but I thought it would be something that would be good to kind of introduce if you're interested in gardening. And you want to maybe try something new if you've never done a fall garden. So, fall gardens are kind of on an opposite timeline as a spring garden. So with a spring or summer garden, it's really cold and you want to plant as early as you can. And then you have to deal with moisture and all of that early on. And then as the season goes on, you start to get weeds and insects, and then finally it gets really hot and dry. With a fall garden, it's the exact opposite of that. So you go and you plant this time of year in August or maybe even into early September, and you have to deal with weed populations that are high, insect populations that are high. It's going to be hotter and drier than it would be in the spring. And then finally, as the season goes on, it gets cooler and it starts to get wetter. So you have to deal with those issues with the fall garden. Now, when most people think about a fall garden, they think about leafy greens like collards and kales, and maybe they think about lettuce. But there's a lot of different vegetables that you can grow in a fall garden. Peas are one thing. If you're maybe not into some of those leafy greens, peas might be something that can grow well. Brussels sprouts are something that's interesting to grow. And we've got a great publication, and that's what I kind of want to show now. So hopefully I'll be able to pull it up on my computer. This is something that I've shown before in previous videos, and this is the Eastern North Carolina planting calendar. So you'll be able to go through here and you can see all of the different plants that grow well this time of year. So arugula is one, if we can look right here on the screen, that we can plant in August through September in our area. There's beans that grow well, your cabbages, your herbs, cilantro grows well this time of year. You can grow cauliflower, kale and kohlrabi all grow well. So there's a lot of different things that you can grow well. This calendar is great because it shows you what you can grow, the different times that you can plant it, how long it's going to take to harvest, and how far apart that you need to plant the plants. And so I highly recommend that you look at those calendars if you're interested in fall garden to start to plan your fall garden. Now, speaking of fall gardening, we've kind of talked about it a lot, some of the pros and cons and what to plant, but really when to plant is now. So if you want to plant seeds to get your transplants ready, start them right now. Go ahead and get a soil sample, and we've got videos on how to do that. But take a soil sample of your garden because a lot of those nutrients have been used up in your spring and summer gardens. So you might have to add out new fertilizer, and we've talked about that in videos before. So get all of that stuff prepped. We talked a lot in this series about the work that you do beforehand really pays off in the long run. That's especially true here with the fall garden because you already have those weeds and those insects. So if you do a really good job of cleaning out your summer garden and preparing the soil, you'll have much more success with your fall garden. Then when you go to plant, we've talked before about seeds and transplants. Make sure that they get a lot of moisture early on. That's especially true with the fall garden because the temperatures are so high and it's dry. You really have to make sure that that soil is moist. So those are just some of the things to prepare for your fall garden. The last thing is frost kind of in October. Really for us, the end of November, we start to get some frost. It's not an issue for us because we usually don't get too heavy of a frost. And these plants are all kind of cold hardy or cold tolerant, so we don't have as much of an issue with the frost in this area. So the big thing is trying to plant as early as you can so you can start to get some of these plants to mature by September or October. You can even have multiple planting dates, and I highly recommend that because we have kind of a long fall season. We really get kind of cool weather up until early December here, so you don't have to worry about frost too much. So I definitely recommend trying to plant multiple planting dates. And again, these are all things that we've talked about in this week in the garden series. So if you maybe need a little bit of a refreshment, head to our website. The link to that is going to be in the description. You can check on that and you can go through all of the different weeks that we talked about. On the front page, it tells you what every topic is. So if you need a refresher on fertilizing or preparing the soil or planting your garden, we've got all of that. They all apply to a fall garden with a big exception. You just got to make sure that you're weary of the heat and the insects and the weeds early on, and then that we're going to kind of transition into that cool weather. But I hope that was a good refresher for y'all, and I hope that kind of interests you in starting a fall garden, even though we're not going to be following my fall garden here because I'm not planning on doing one. I hope that y'all are still interested in gardening from this series and that you want to continue it throughout the fall. But with that, we're going to finish today's episode. Make sure that you stay tuned for next week's episode. It's going to be the last episode where I'm going to go over how to use our website, how to kind of navigate that so you can find all of these videos that we've done. It's been about 25 videos. So we've got a lot of material out there. So make sure that you stay tuned and good luck gardening. And we'll see you next time from This Week in the Garden.